Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loca. Welcome to the Cruise Show Live. Yeah, Cruise Show for your face on Friday, the 4th of July. 4th of July, happy Independence Day, everybody. I'm coming to you from a sunny Seattle, Washington. It's just 4 p.m. here, but it's been a pretty good and eventful day. I flew to Seattle yesterday, and boy, are my arms tired. I got up today. I hung out with our friend Don Terrace. We went down to Pike Place Market, Pike Place Market, and we're going to meet up for dinner in a little bit. But there were some stories that happened, some updates to some stories that happened, and I kind of made a little video, and I didn't get it edited. So I thought, well, let's just chop it up live. So we'll do a couple updates to a couple stories, and then we'll just talk cruising, and I'll answer questions, all that kind of thing. Let's talk first about the overboard on the Disney Dream. Let's see. So there was a story that came out today that the Broward County Sheriff's Department gave another update on the girl falling overboard. And they put out an update the other day that said that the dad did not place the daughter onto the railing because there was some rumors. There were actual legit eyewitness accounts. I read all these news articles throughout the last week. This happened on Sunday past, I think. And all these articles, and some of them are like, oh, I was an eyewitness and I saw the dad posing the kid to try to take a photograph, that kind of thing. And then there was also like an employee that said, you know, the kid fell while the parents were playing shuffleboard. So I think the reason that the Broward County Sheriff's Department put this information out was because of misinformation. And so let me read you exactly what the statement says. Now, up on the screen is a picture of the Deck 4 of the Disney Dream. And these are the portal windows in question. I don't know if this is the particular portal that the little girl went overboard on. But yeah, let me share this with you, their statement real quick. All right, I want to find the actual quote so I'm not making up stuff. One moment, please. All right, so they said that this incident happened around 11:30 this past Sunday, and the quote is, "The girl lost her balance while sitting on a railing and falling backward through a portal." They went on to say, after the girl's mother alerted her husband, who didn't see the incident, he jumped into the ocean to save his daughter. The detective said that the 37-year-old father found his daughter. He treaded water until they were rescued by a tender that was launched from the ship. The Sheriff's Department said the main reason that they released this statement is because of all of the misinformation out there. Now, it's an interesting conversation, right? We say nobody can fall off of a cruise ship. So if we were, it's semantics, right? It's nuance. Certainly, the act of falling into the water is falling off of a cruise ship, but I guess the conversation is really what action preceded the falling, right? Certainly, if somebody jumps off of a cruise ship, that's one thing. But if we're looking at this portal window, I can't really tell from the statement whether she was sitting on this top wooden rail and fell through the portal, or if she was sitting on this secondary little metal rail and fell through the portal. But either way, I guess the argument could be made that because she sat anywhere on either one of those railings, then, you know, she didn't really fall off the cruise ship. She did some sort of choice that resulted, a bad choice that resulted in her going overboard. I guess at its core semantics, we could say that. You know, I'm sure this one's going to be debated, and it'll be interesting to see what happens, whether, you know, somebody says, hey, this isn't safe, and maybe this incident proves that it's not safe. I guess the other thing could say that the parents weren't watching their kids close enough. But man, if you're looking at like this area here, I think it would be tough to think, okay, this is dangerous. But honestly, anytime that you're outside on a cruise ship, it's dangerous and probably should be treated so. But I'm just trying to get in the mindset of the people that are on vacation. Would you look at that scenario there and say, you know, unless my kid climbs over that rail, this isn't dangerous? Who knows? Who knows? And the conversation will probably go forward. But at least where I've seen people demonize the father, saying that he set his kid on a rail, at least this is dispelling all of that. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. So that's the big update. At least that's what the police are saying when it comes to that. Now let's look at the saddest story of the day. On Tuesday, this is so the lady photographed here has a name that's a challenge to pronounce, and I don't want to butcher the name out of respect. She's a doctor from Kentucky. She went on a cruise on I believe it was a Norwegian cruise ship, and she got off of the cruise ship on Tuesday. She took the tram in Juneau and went to the top of the mountain. She told her family through text messages that she was going to go for a hike, and she didn't return to the cruise ship. So she's 62 years old. She took the tram to the top of the mountain, and she told her family that she was going to hike Gold Ridge to Gastineau Peak. And this is what happens when you get off at the Mount Roberts tramway. So she went up there. There's video evidence of her leaving the buildings at the tram area, and then she was no longer seen. Now, when she didn't return to the cruise ship on Tuesday, there was a search and rescue that was put out for her. Dogs, helicopters, search teams started looking for her since about 3:20 on Tuesday after she was reported missing. Some of the search was hindered by weather, and the sad result of this story was that yesterday her body was spotted by an Alaska Army National Guard helicopter, and she was recovered that way, but unfortunately she was deceased. There's not a lot of further detail as to did she fall, did she go off trail, anything like that, but just a sad story. And, as I've thought about it, as I think about all these stories, I'm like, okay, what are the takeaways? What are nobody anticipates falling off a cruise ship. Nobody anticipates having trouble when they're hiking alone. I don't know what else the lady could have done. She told her family that she was going to go hiking. I don't know if telling somebody on the cruise ship or having a buddy on the cruise ship would have been any more help. But, other than, wrapping ourselves in bubble wrap and never leaving our house, life can be dangerous. And you never know what's going to predicate something, challenging or bad happening. And certainly we see these outlier events. It's just a super sad story. But for a couple days, just like with the overboard story, it really did kind of take off and was really what all the headlines were, was driving all the headlines and stuff like that. So, sad, much sadness, and obviously pain for her family, and but wishing them the best. Not that probably does anything for them, but at least they're not wondering now what happened to their family member. So those are the big two updates, and so I knew it wasn't going to take long to give those updates. I appreciate everybody coming in and watching. I'm not leaving. But anybody that just popped in for the news, those are essentially the news updates. I did have another story that I talked about. I don't have it, but a wild thing a couple wild things. When I flew in yesterday, I flew in on Southwest. Big fan of Southwest. They have the person of size policy, so you can pre-purchase 2 seats and guaranteed to have 2 seats. And I love it for when I fly west. I flew from Tampa to Nashville to Seattle. I was super comfortable being my size with that person of size policy. Now, what happens is when I get home from my flight, if I submit a ticket and they check to see if the flight was not sold out, I'll get refunded one of those tickets, which is nice. But this was the first time I flew Southwest since they made some changes, and I was a little bit shocked when they were like, "Here's my one check bag," and they're like, "That's $35," and I'm like, "Oh yeah." That did change. I forgot that changed, but I still had a great time flying in. The wild thing is, though, once we got into Seattle, we were kind of doing our final, descent, the final approach to the airport, and then all of a sudden, the plane nosed back up to the point where I was like, "Oh, this isn't right." And then a few minutes later, they said that another plane had experienced a bird strike, and that they were checking the runway. So the cool thing is, we got to fly around Seattle. And I got some really nice footage of Mount Rainier. It was a clear day yesterday. You can see Mount Rainier, a nice shot of the nice shot of the waterfront area with the Space Needle, and also saw some cruise ships that were sailing out. So that was kind of cool. But on Southwest, they made several announcements about portable batteries, lithium-ion batteries. You can't check them in your bag. They don't want them under the plane. You can have them in your carry-on, but on Southwest, they said if you're going to charge anything with your lithium-ion battery, that you need to have it out and visible. I think this has to do with a couple of incidents that happened in Asia. There was I think it was a Singaporean plane, a plane in Singapore, where the whole plane caught on fire. The whole fuselage burned up. People got off of there. There weren't injuries, I don't think, but it was tied back to just one of these battery packs that caught fire, I guess, if they get hot. And Southwest is like, make sure you're not charging it up in the overhead bin. So that was new. I know they've been talking about it a little bit, but that's the first time I really seen such a hardcore push on chargeable batteries. So if you're flying or traveling, just be keen to that. And it's kind of made me think, like, sometimes I will leave stuff plugged into that rechargeable battery while I'm out and about on a cruise ship or something like that, but I'm not going to do that going forward. So there's that. What else has been happening today? Like I said, we went to Pike Place Market. Everybody said you got to go to Pike Place Chowder. I believe that's the name of it. And they serve all these different kind of chowders and big sourdough bread. So we did that, and then I was kind of shocked at all the different stores that they had in that market. I went looking at records today. That was kind of cool. There was a really neat collectible store, a magic store. There was somebody doing magic demonstrations. That was pretty cool. And art galleries, places to buy clothes. So really a great time if you're in Seattle pre-cruise. You can go get food, drink, and some form of entertainment and shopping right there at Pike Place Market. So highly, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. What else? Anything? Let me see. 4th of July, they are having fireworks here. But there's already a lot of people on the streets of Seattle. And really the big reason that we're here, big reason that I'm here is to help Don, my friend Don, facilitate his group cruise. My friend Don's been going through some medical issues, a couple lung surgeries. Excitingly, he was cleared by the doctor. He showed up in Seattle last night. We've been hanging out a little bit. We're going to go have dinner. And so really, it would be cool to go see fireworks somewhere here in Seattle. But I think I'm just going to meet him over at his hotel for dinner and then kind of have an early night so that we can get on the cruise ship and do the group cruise stuff. We're going to Skagway, Ketchikan, Juneau, Glacier Bay. I don't have any excursions booked yet. I got a feeling I'm going to do some sort of whale watching for sure. I did go to the knee doctor the other day, so I've been rehabbing my knee. I didn't get a great report from the knee doctor. Finally got my first imaging of my knee, and really the cartilage is not really showing up on the x-ray. And so he was like, it's, could be arthritis, could be torn meniscus. So I still have a lingering pain in my knee, and if I walk a whole lot, it becomes a challenge. I would say my pain's about a 4 out of 10 once I really get going. So that was the tragic thing that they told me a couple days ago, that hey man, you're just going to have to learn to manage your pain a little bit. And I really didn't think that was going to be the report, but they are going to do an MRI, so I've got an MRI to schedule for when I get back, and really try to understand if it is a torn meniscus. But of course, the big thing is to lose some weight. So that may be the thing. I struggle to even find some sort of motivation to lose weight. Oh, you'll die early, that kind of thing. For odd reasons, like because of my faith and stuff, I'm not too concerned about dying. But quality of life is a crazy thing. Like it's really messing with my brain a little bit, because I want to be able to do all this stuff. And I don't want to just have some bad quality of life. So that may be the motivation to finally get serious about losing some weight. What else is going on? I'm staying at this cool hotel, the Kempton Vintage Hotel. Somebody earlier said it looked like a pimp decorated my room. I don't know. I've never really hung out with pimps to know how they decorate. I never really thought of pimps as interior decorators, but maybe so. But I like it. I don't know if you've seen my Facebook. I posted pictures, but this is a cool room. It's got wraparound windows, and I really kind of like this room. Okay. I've talked a lot. I've said a lot. If you're here, if you could hit the like button, and we'll spend some time answering some cruise questions. If you want me to answer one of your cruise questions or any question, I'm happy to. Oh, my sister's here. Happy birthday. So not only is it America's birthday, but it is my big sister's birthday, Michelle. I was sending her pictures from the market. She does crochet. And I'd never really seen these. I know about like Joann Fabric and Michaels and those kind of places, but in that market, there are two like fabric stores that look exotic, like exotic fabrics that you can crochet and stuff with. Happy birthday, sister. I love you so much. Okay, I like Meg said, any pimps want to chime in? Anybody else? Look, I can't remember who said it, but I heard that pimping ain't easy. I guess it's probably not. It seems like there would be a whole like HR type challenge with the pimping. Okay, Peggy. So if you have a question, type question in front of it. I'll be more likely to see it. But let's answer some questions. Peggy Nadorf says, what cruise line are y'all going on? So we're going to be on the Royal Princess. I've never been on that ship, so I'll do a ship tour and all that stuff. I'm excited about that. Michelle says Kempton's owned by Holiday Inn. IHG, don't they? They own Holiday Inn too, right? But they have a lot of different stuff. Let's see. I'm gonna get my water. My water. Oh, the knees, kids. Stinks getting old. The corporate structure. That's pretty funny. We got to have a whole like, how do you decorate as a pimp? Rocket Records. Oh my gosh. What is going on, Joe? Happy 4th of July. I tell you what, in the downtime, I really kind of got hooked on buying vinyl. And, I don't think Joe's over there pimping, but he's definitely dealing. Joe is my local dealer when it comes to vinyl. But yeah, if you guys can, Joe also was kind enough to let me make a video for his store, a little advertisement, a little like welcome to Rocket Records. And we're trying to get some subscribers and stuff over there. So shamelessly, if you click on Rocket Records, go check out the channel and watch some videos. But Joe puts up a video every week about the new stuff. And even if you're not in town to watch what the new stuff is, I watch a ton of these new stuff videos because I love to see what's going on. I went to a Holy Cow Records today. I'm looking for two things. I'm looking for this jazz album called Charles Mingus That was in 1959, prolific. And then I'm also looking for Warren Zevon's first album, self-titled, Warren Zevon. They didn't have either one. So I didn't purchase anything at Rocket Records, but I did purchase some artwork for the walls. Let me show you the artwork. And thank you, Joe, for the super chat. Super chatty. Hopefully I can get these home without banging them up. But these are a couple prints, and the artist was there. The other cool thing about Pike Place Market is they have art galleries, and I think it's like a good way for local artists to kind of hawk their wares. In the store that I got these are by two different artists, but the person that was working there, Lisa Kurt, she was actually working there. This is her piece. And then, of course, Jenny and I love birds. We've been playing this game called Wingspan. I just think that's a pretty regal-looking hawk. I don't know where I'll stick these, in the house or in the studio, but no records, but I picked up some art. Reminds me of my buddy. Well, that's a horrible joke, but I had a friend that would hang on the wall, and we called him Art. Databetic, thank you so much. Oh, can you super in custom amounts? Oh, I guess so. 704, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Question, what are your thoughts on the Carnival Celebration Island charges? I've been hearing some are not so happy. What are they, Lords? I heard $15 for all-day water slides. That might be the only one I heard. Of course, they're not going to let you use your drink package on the island. Boo! I think they should. I think every cruise company, if you're going to their private island, I think the drink package should work. Because, that's one of the not scams, but that's one of the challenges of drink packages. Are you going to get your money's worth on the day that you're out at port? Like if you go to Senior Frogs in Cozumel and you're drinking margaritas on your own dime all day, then I think it's probably good for the cruise line because they're not, losing drinks on the drink package. But that's the only thing I am challenged about on any of these private islands is when the drink package doesn't work. Question, I hear both Royal Caribbean and Norwegian have good programs for kids. How do they compare for cost? I am unfamiliar with the cost structure of any kids program, so I would invite any parent out there that knows that answer to jump in and help Jared with the question. I don't really know. Let's see. Question. Oh, $11 for pool noodle rental. Are people? That's a lot. I mean, you could probably bring your own pool noodle for less than that, if that's true. Question. So, two distinctively different music genres. Are you collecting any Ellington? And how about King Crimson and ELP? I'm an old 70s rocker and jazz enthusiast. So I'm new to jazz, and I just listened to Ken Burns and his writing partner's audiobook about the history of jazz. And so it's filled me up with a lot of different names. I did at Banana Records find a $1 CD of Ellington. I did pick that up, and I picked a lot of great jazz records up from Joe. I got Miles at Newport from Rocket Records last week. So I'm just really kind of getting into it. But I did see a video on YouTube called 4 Records That Changed Jazz in 1959. It is Miles Davis, Kind of Blue. It is Mingus It was also Dave Brubeck, Time Out, and Arnett Coleman. I can't remember the name of the Arnett Coleman one. But I've been listening to those. I've been streaming those. And then on the plane yesterday, I was listening to Miles Davis, Bitches Brew. I'm starting to like all of that, but I have a Dizzy album at home. I've got a Louis album at home, and those are all like different like time frames of jazz and different styles of jazz. I'm trying to get into all of it, but I'm really starting to try to not understand, but just listen to Miles. That's a whole different thing. And it all started really with Bossa Nova, with Stan Getz and Gilberto, Girl from Ipanema. That's really cool, but I do like all different genres of music. And I didn't know much of Warren Zevon other than Werewolves in London. I picked up Excitable Boy at Rocket Records. I consumed that record. I love it a lot. Then I've started working through the catalog, and I find I like a lot of songs on Zevon's first album. So to answer your question, I don't think I have any of the other things that you were talking about, but I do like a lot of different music. Miriam Fawcett, did you go to the original Starbucks? I have before in Seattle. If you've tracked along, the interesting thing, one of the things that people like to be most hateful about when it comes to my YouTube content is my love of Starbucks. I do like Starbucks. I'm very familiar with the products there. I enjoy the different drinks that they offer. They always make my drink the way I like it. And so I have gone to Starbucks in town, but now anytime I go somewhere, I try to go get local coffee. Today I went to a place called Retro Coffee, which is about a block from the hotel. It was really good. I was going to make a short video saying, hey, look, I got some local coffee and then show Starbucks, but I didn't think the juice was worth the squeeze on the outrage for that. But I have been to that. And then, of course, the one time that I did go to the Starbucks at Pike Place Market, and said, hey, look, I went to the original Starbucks. A million people went, hey, dummy, that's not even the original one, even though they got it and they say it's the original. It used to be under a bridge somewhere. So, yeah, I guess all that to say, I didn't make the trip over to the Seattle Starbucks today. Let's see. Love Warren Zevon, my ride's here. I have to check that out. Wendy, I'm going to do my best, but Don's his own guy. So, I've told him many times that I'm here to do whatever he wants. So, yeah, Joel, that audio book ended with the coming of Wynton Marsalis. Basically saying, because it was wild, jazz seemed like the only music in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and then singers started becoming more popular than just instrumentals, and then you got rock and roll and all that kind of stuff, and then apparently, as jazz became bebop, it turned a lot of the audience off because you couldn't really dance to it, and as innovative as bop was, it may have killed jazz, or partly. But then Wynton is like the next, so I got to get deeper into it. It's fun. It's just a nice distraction. Nice distraction. Plus, I love music. Let's see. If you are close enough, you should check out Jerk Dog Records in Bradenton. I'll try it. I've been to all kinds of record stores around. Question, sailing on the Grand out of San Juan in November, looking for hotel recommendations in the port area. I've never stayed in San Juan. I only just visit there by cruise ships. Anybody got a good close to the port in San Juan? Scott Given, thank you so much for the super chat. His super chat. Yow. What are the measurements of the railing to the floor? I don't know. Like, we can look at that picture again. I don't know how, most of the time the railings, they hit me like right here. So, I mean, the whole goal is to not be able to go over them, but obviously I'm bigger than a small child. So I don't know, like if we're looking at this picture on the left, could a small child fall through those gaps? Like say that between the wood gap and the second gap? I don't know. It's going to be interesting, and hopefully we'll know. Yeah, I don't know. Thank you, Susan Owens. Yeah, I kind of want to watch this was an audiobook on Audible. I kind of want to watch the DVDs, but I might have to pick them up because they don't really stream anywhere. Question, any recommendations from the Seattle airport to downtown? We will be there for Sunday Ocean. I tell you what, I had two options last night. I landed about 6:30 or something. Well, I think I was leaving the airport around 6:30. I took an Uber, and normally I get a Uber XL. No, the XL is the regular one. I usually get I can't remember the bigger one. It was like $80 for Uber last night. Now, there was a sign that said you could take the light rail to downtown, and I did look it up, but man, my knee was just jammed up. And I didn't know that I could walk all the way to the light rail terminal. I'm assuming that would have been cheaper, but I think the taxi would have been comparable. I think it's just going to be expensive. I don't know if it's the holiday or what, but Don said he paid $190 last night because it was peak to go from the airport to his hotel. So so Todd's got it. Take the light rail. Todd, if you're familiar with that airport, do you know how much further past the Uber spot the light rail is? Because I started walking. It looked like quite the haul because I could have got off at a light rail stop and only been 500 feet or something, or maybe 500 feet from the hotel. Railing are 42 inches high, so that's pretty high. Yeah, there you go. Din. Take the light rail, $3. That's the way to go. Honestly, I should have pushed through it. Light rail is a 2-mile walk. It didn't look close. The terminal did not look close to the airport terminal because there was a sign. What got me to turn around is I started walking toward the light rail, and then there was a little sign that said, hey, if you have trouble walking, there's a shuttle that comes every so often. And I waited a little bit, and the shuttle didn't come. So that said to me that it could have been a little bit of a walk. Question, will Don be on your birthday cruise? See you there. I don't think so. I don't think he's got plans to go on the Star of the Seas quite yet. Dutch Brothers Coffee. I don't think I've tried that. What application do you use when you live stream when you're away? It's the same that I use all over the place. It's Ecamm Live. It just runs on my laptop. So whether I'm home or not, it's just a different camera. So I've got my Osmo Pocket 3. I might be able to show you on my... let me go back over here. Maybe. Let's go. So this is shooting on my Osmo Pocket 3. Let me see if I can do my iPhone camera. So that's what the camera that's connected, USB style. Excuse all the mess. Whoa, look at all the wires. It goes into the computer right here. And then this is kind of what the overlay looks like. So this is Ecamm. These are the different scenes. Like I set up these scenes that had the overlays, and then I have the chat here. But that's the setup. And the Pocket's so small. I mean, it doesn't, at the studio, I have a big like Sony camera kind of mounted in the same scenario. But I moved the desk out a little bit, so. D. May Binkley, take it from an elderly woman who struggles to walk. Don't take the light rail from the airport with a knee issue you would have suffered. Yeah. That's the question. So we walked from our hotel to Pike Place Market today. It was mostly downhill. It was less than a mile, but, a decent little walk. And then when we started to walk back, it was like, we just grabbed an Uber back. So Beermaster, will you do a joint live video with Don on this trip? Maybe. And we're sharing a cabin, so there's a good potential that if I do another live, I was going to invite him over here, but his hotel is around the block a little bit, and I know he's trying to get some stuff done before we meet up for dinner, so I don't want to bother him. Plus, there's no other chair here. I'm not sure. We'd had to figure out how to get on the pimp couch over there. To all, thank you for the tips to downtown from SeaTac. There you go, David M. Yeah, what do you think you'll do? How close am I to the Space Needle? That's a great question. I don't think super far. I can see the waterfront from here too, which is nice. Map. Space Needle. 1.2 miles. It says. If I was going to walk, it would be 28-minute walk. Yeah. So the wild thing is, and I've never been to San Francisco, but it's pretty hilly over here. It's pretty hilly. Who gets the top bunk? So Patricia, they actually, like in most cruise cabins, I mean, some of them have bunk beds, but most of them will have like a king-size bed that they split in two. Where are you watching fireworks tonight? I don't think anywhere. I'm not, maybe on the TV. I think we're just going to go eat some dinner and then call it a night. I think there's fireworks close to here, but the idea of getting into a big crowd of people is not appealing to me. In the photos, yeah, so let me make that clear. I don't know that that's exactly the portal. I don't know the relation. I did see somebody on TikTok trying to establish the shuffleboard to the portals. I'm pretty sure that that's the window type, but I don't know that that's exactly the window, so don't do that. Let's see. How many times have I been to Seattle? So Jenny and I were here a couple years ago. We stayed at the Edgewater. Don and I have been here together, and we stayed at the Marriott. Jenny and I were here another time, and we stayed out by the airport. I think at least 4 or 5 times. This might be my 4th or 5th trip to whatchamacallit, to Seattle. Somebody's talking about a Dan. I don't know a Dan. If you can see the waterfront, you should be able to see the fireworks from the window. Yeah, unfortunately, with all these great windows, I don't think I can see the waterfront. Here, we can take a tour around. The room's a little bit of a mess, so please forgive. I just try to keep the shot clean. Oh wait, my camera's gone. That's a good shot. What happened to my iPhone camera? Well, maybe we can't. I was gonna. The iPhone camera's not clicked back in. But yeah, I don't know that I can see the. I don't know that I can see it. I might have to go outside. Lynn said the weather is great in Seattle today. I agree. The funny thing is, this morning when I went out, it was 62 degrees and I was cold. So I'm kind of blaming Florida and my no thyroid on that. Oh, you're welcome, Kristen. Yeah, you know, I guess I resolved a few years ago to try and just go as light as possible. Now, I don't know why my iPhone camera's not working. That's a little annoying. Oh, wait, let me try it over here. No. Sorry if we go black. I just want to get, if I could get this camera to work. So I'm also using the Osmo, the DJI Mic 3 set. So that's the other transmitter. There's a receiver plugged into the USB of my laptop. That's the end of the setup. So. Oh, Kay Harvey, very kind. Thank you so much. Question, how are you handling the time difference? It's 3-hour difference from home. So 7:33 at home. My laptop keeps the correct time. 4:33 here in Seattle. I was pretty tired when I got in last night, so I got to the hotel at 7:30. I left my house at 10 yesterday. I got to the hotel at 7:30, which would have been 10:30 my time. So 12 hours of traveling. I stayed up. I got some Panda Express from Uber Eats. I ate dinner, tried to stay up another hour, and finally went to sleep. But I woke up like at 4 o'clock this morning. So, yeah, the time change is tough. Jenny, I'm in your area. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Appreciate the offer for the local tour. Yeah, trying to keep it low key today. Just want to go to the market and relax a little bit before the cruise. How far is the port from your hotel? That's the challenge. I don't even know where the port is. We've stayed in this area before, so probably less than a half hour. Let me see if it'll just show up. I can't remember what the port number is. Anybody know the Princess Cruise Port? Anybody know the Princess Cruise Port? Pier 91, I think, is the Norwegian one. Princess Cruise Lines. I don't know. It's going to be less than a half hour, though. The Diabetic, I don't even think they were throwing the fishes today. The one place that I think throws the fish, it looked like they had the tarps down. So I did learn to solve the Rubik's Cube this week. So I've had this Rubik's Cube for a long time, and then we went to my son's wedding and got to hang out with my daughter Peach and her boyfriend Aiden, and he was just talking up cubes, like solving cubes or whatever. And so I finally learned how to solve this cube, and then at the end of that video, they're like, but if you really want to solve a Rubik's Cube, you got to get a speed cube. And so now I'm trying to figure out how to solve the Rubik's Cube. I think I can solve it in under 5 minutes, but you see people like solve it in 3 seconds, which is bizarre. But it's kind of weird. Like, I don't guess anybody really just naturally solves it. It's just all algorithms, which kind of makes the magic go out of it, I think. Princess uses 91? Okay, then that's 2.8 miles on the map. So that's cool. Norwegian 66. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, one time we stayed right across the street from the Norwegian one. Kimberly, yeah, Don and I, we spent the day running around at Pike Market, which was fun. Pike Place Market. Because I always say Pike's Place Market, now I don't even want to say the Pike or Place. I just want to say Pike Market so I don't mess it up. But Pike Place Market. How old was the girl that fell off the Dream? Sure didn't look the age that they claimed. I saw a report that said 4 years old. I saw a report that said 5 years old. She looked a little older than that, but I don't know. The sheriff's department said they're not releasing any of the deets on the family at all for their privacy. So that makes sense. Oh. Is it always this nice in Seattle, all you Seattle folks? I don't remember it being this nice every time that I've been here, but man, it's been beautiful. Public market, that's good. Yeah, that is what it says on the sign too. I think I would call it public market. I tell you what, when I first woke up this morning, I'm like, oh, I wonder if I could go get breakfast at the public market. And they had a croquette place. Is that what it's called? Is that what I'm thinking? That looked good. The video of the girl falling overboard, I'm assuming it's in the hands of the police. So they put out a statement saying that the video revealed how she fell off. So that's what we've been talking about. So wrangling the wards, this is a great question. I will make a poll. I will make a poll because, and this is going to be controversial. I hope people don't get PO'd. But if you do, please, I guess we can be mad at each other about it. Let me start a poll. If it is determined that the girl fell overboard doing something dangerous, I don't know the best way to word it, should the family be required to pay for the... Oh, I can't make the question this long. I only get 100 characters. This will be really ambiguous and really could make people mad. Should the family pay for the rescue if it is their fault? And this is for all situations. Should the family / person pay for the rescue if it is their fault? See what you guys think. Let's see. Bottom line is you fell off the cruise ship. The reason why you fell doesn't take away from the fact that they fell. That's right. See, somebody says child neglect. I don't know, man. Do you guys have kids? Like, kids are wild. You can be watching your kids and stuff can still happen. Trust me, I know. So I don't know what the line is where it becomes negligent. Like, if the guy was down in the bar drinking and his kid was 5 decks up and fell off the cruise ship, okay. But if you're like within 100 feet of your kids and you're kind of watching your kids and then all of a sudden they climb up on a rail, I guess the argument could be made that you should have taught them in advance, don't ever climb up on a rail, but kids are going to be kids, man. Yeah, David, that's what I said. There's really no good. Somebody give me a better way to word the question. I'm not mad with if you have a trouble with the. So I mean, I don't have enough characters, but I guess the way I would qualify it is if it's determined that the kid did something dangerous by climbing up on the rail, should the family pay for the rescue? Obviously you're not going to charge the kid for the rescue. The parents would have to take it in, Been to Starbucks Reserve Roasters? I haven't. I heard that's really one of the real. I heard that's a nice place actually, but I haven't been over there. So Don, what they're saying is that she was climbing a rail and fell through the portal. So here's the Disney Dream on the screen. You see this big portal right here, the big circle? That's what she fell through. And I'll read the police statement again. Let's pull the police statement up because it's a little tough even from the police statement. All right. So the police said the girl lost her balance while sitting on a railing and falling backwards through a portal. That's what the police said after they saw the video. I don't know what that means with this railing. Do you think she's sitting on the wood railing and fell through the portal? Or do we think she was sitting on we don't know. So I don't even know if it matters to speculate. But one of those things are true. She was either sitting on this top railing and fell through, or is she sitting on this middle railing and falling through that gap between the top and the middle? I don't know. That's a toughie. Sandra Pierce, thank you so much for the super chat. Love your channel. I especially love when your wife travels with you. My husband and I took an Alaska cruise years ago. Love Seattle and Alaska. Yeah, it's fun to travel with my wife. Dawn's probably the person I've traveled with most beside my wife. But yeah, this was kind of a last minute thing. And I don't even think I was ready to travel. So just trying out here helping Dawn, Social Blade. We have a 2-year-old on a cruise now. We've seen lots of ways kids could climb and fall overboard, not parent shaming, but you need to watch them closely. I think that's a big takeaway. Like, I never took my kids when they were young, and I've only taken the adults a few times. I would be hyper freaked out on any deck. I guess I just would. That's me, though. Yeah, I think something will happen here. Again, I'm not an expert and I can't really speculate what Disney does or doesn't do, but somebody said those same rails that aren't in front of portals have plexiglass along the bottom and middle, but I don't know. Princess Shuttle from the airport would work. Even when you're staying at a hotel, do you like shuttle the night before? JC Shaves, Don is here. Yeah, he's in a. He's just when I booked my hotel, I tried to book where Don is at, but it was already sold out because I'm kind of last minute. So I'm actually a half a block. I just turn a corner and there he is. How did Don and I meet? So when I first started YouTube, there was an interesting scenario where YouTube changed the qualifications for monetization. And I think I was making like $30. I think I was making $1 a day on YouTube. I think I had 680 subscribers, but I had what it took to get monetized. And like I said, I was making about $1 a day. and they made an announcement that they were going to turn off monetization unless you could have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. I had plenty of watch time, so I well met, and usually that's the harder one to meet, but I had plenty of watch time, and I didn't really know what to do. And so one day I was working my consulting job, and I've been watching Don's videos a ton, and I felt like we were fairly similar sensibility-wise and some content-wise. I just sent him an email. I said, hey man, you don't know me from anybody, but I'm a little stressed out that this monetization is going away. I don't know, what's going to happen, but if you have a chance, could you check out some of my videos? And if you dig it, would you talk about it? And he watched some of the videos and he said, hey, I'm getting to know this guy Tony, and I like his videos, and he's not going to be monetized. If you get a chance, go check him out. A lot of people came over, and we got over the 1,000 subscribers. I don't remember what month that was in, maybe January of 2018 or something. And then he just surprised Jenny and I in February of 2018 on an MSC cruise. And we became friends during that cruise, and we planned to go to Japan together. Then we went to Japan together, and we've just been friends ever since. So, it's always good. YouTube's a little bit of a solitary type deal. And it's hard to find people that you can work with and you can trust. And I've certainly encountered other people that aren't very good people in the content creation space. And, it's a weird thing because I'm a little Pollyannic in the fact that, hey, I think everybody's great. And then until you prove to me that you're not great. And that's kind of sometimes a hard way to learn stuff because you get hurt along the way. But I found Don to be a true friend, ups and downs, and all the things that we've gone through over the last 8 years. So, yeah, he's a special guy, and I'm glad to be here helping him. So, let's see. Yeah, so that answered that, right? We were on the seaside, I think. Oh, my wife's here, the lovely Jenny B. What's up, beautiful, gorgeous? What are you doing? We already played Wingspan today. I won't talk about who won because that wouldn't be couth. That wouldn't be couth. I've been on a tear lately with Wingspan. I don't know why, but I've been very focused on the Wingspan. So it's a little bit of a mix. So, the majority say that if the family person, if it is their fault. Again, there's a lot, it's a loaded question, right? You have to, I don't know how you determine whose fault it is, but let's just say we were able to say it's your fault. Should they have to pay? 68% says yes. Best time of year to go to Alaska. During the Alaskan cruising season, I wouldn't go when it's frozen. We've been different times. We've been in August and September. What is this month? It's July. I don't know if we've ever been in July. I know at some point the salmon run into Ketchikan. I've never seen that. I've been there and I've seen a bunch of dead salmon before, but I've never really seen the running of the salmon. I don't know when that happens. And then the whales, they switch up during a migration, and the bears. I've had a good time every time. Anybody have a vote on when the best one is? Joe and Alan, do you know Alana from Lifewell Cruise? I've cruised with Alana a couple times. Yeah, I think we're friends. I mean, I don't know her long enough to say that we're friends, but I love her and Frank and their son, and yeah, I've had a lot. We've been on 2 cruises or 2 adventures together. We're doing stuff for NCL, and they're very nice. Yeah, that's a good question. Who's liable for recovery rescue costs? Would you consider, Daniel says, would you consider a Carnival cruise to Halifax, Charlottetown, Sydney, Canada, and Sun? Yes, I would. I like all those ports. I can't remember what cruise ship I did it on. I think it was on the Caribbean Princess. Thanks, Don. I've been on the Caribbean Princess one too many times because of Don. But I did those ports. I think I went all the way up to Quebec City, and I loved it. We're going back this year with a group cruise out of New York, and we're going to a lot of those ports. It's a round trip to New York in October, but I think that's going to be a blast. I think we only got like 50 people on that cruise too, so that's going to be like a real nice, intimate. We're trying to get back into the group cruising. We've got 2 experiments going on. We'll see how it is after these 2, but we got this fall cruise on a Princess ship out of New York, and then we have a spring cruise. First time anybody's going to be in Philly for like 20-something years. Norwegian ship to Bermuda, and then down to Charleston. But that's like 200 people, so that's going to be it's going to be interesting. Alan, Thank you for the super chat. We're looking for our third cruise soon. Thanks for helping us get the most out of our first. Oh, glad. Is there any? This is going to be very self-serving, but can you think of one thing that I said that helped you on your cruise? That way I can continue to use it as advice. Appreciate the super chat. That's the second one. Maybe I missed the first one. People always find a way to get into danger. It is the nature of humanity. We do end up finding ways to get into danger, and most of the time it doesn't really, it doesn't always, result in bad things. So I guess that's why sometimes we'll test the fates, as it were. What's the longest cruise I've ever been on? I think 26 days. It was transatlantic from New York to Rotterdam, and then that cruise continued on to Amsterdam with some other stops in Northern Europe, which was really amazing. Carol D is going to be there in October. That's very cool. That's a great question, Robin. I haven't heard the answer. Has it been that long? Do you know the man in the 60s who was ever found in Cozumel? I don't know if he was or not. I'll try to check on that. Amanda wants to see the ABCs. I still need the B, but I tell you what, I love the A and C. What princess ship are you cruising on to Alaska? The Royal Princess. The Royal. Look at the difference. Like this one barely turns, but this one you can kind of. I thought the hype over a speed cube was ridiculous, but this is a lot easier to turn and solve than the other one. Question, best transportation from the airport to Port Canaveral. I just drive my car. I don't really know because we drive over from Tampa. I think I'm such a sucker for Uber, but I don't know if that's the best money. I really think the best value are our cruise line shuttles. If you can work the shuttle system, it feels like you're going to ride on a big bus with other people, but I think you're going to save money because there's a lot of people on the big bus. But I do Uber, so Uber. Let's see. So something that you always say, and how you have lived our life. Just remember, any cruise is a good cruise. Also, cruise how you want to cruise. That is a good one, Jenny. Absolutely. Let me see. Alan Weed sailed Royal Caribbean both times. I was just seeing if there was a nugget. Is everybody watching? Who's watching fireworks tonight, and where are you watching them? When I lived in Nashville, they have a great firework down on the riverfront. Broadway fills up with people. They shoot them off a barge on the Cumberland River. It's so good. So good. Oh, that's true. Oh, Brightline. Not Brightline to Port Canaveral, though. No, Brightline just goes like from Orlando down to Miami. Am I going to do a dance break? No, not live today. I'm not. Yeah, Diane, I think that's what I really appreciated about all three of those islands is the infusion of the Dutch culture, especially after I went to the Netherlands. You could feel it and see it a lot more. What do you recommend for transportation to Southampton Port if I'm in London? I would use the cruise line's shuttle service. The last time I cruised out of Southampton, I did that. Don and I hired a private car one year. That was much more expensive than the shuttle service, but I would do that. I think there is some way you can do a train down there, but I don't know that that's particularly the way to go. Emma Cruises, I don't know, like she has a website with a lot of different tips and stuff. I think she has a whole dedicated page on transportation to maybe a lot of different cruise ports, but I know she outlines a few to Southampton, so check out Emma Cruises' website. Fireworks in Lake Arrowwood in California. How about that? That's pretty cool. Burb is not watching fireworks. They do the big show in Virginia Beach. Yeah, the older I get, the less I am for being in the crowd. Yeah, I could do the juggle for you, but I don't have I don't know that I have 3 things to juggle. I should have brought some juggling balls. They were right there in the car when I got out yesterday too. If I can find something comparable to the Rubik's Cube. Let's see. What can I juggle? Ooh, this will make interesting noise. I'll juggle the Advil. Now, if I could solve the Rubik's Cube while juggling, that would be interesting. But there you go. There's a little juggling. It was cool in the magic store today. They had some fairly nice looking juggling clubs. I've been tempted, but one of my favorite places to get juggling gear is this place in California called Renegade Juggling. I mean, I get it online. And then one of the oldest juggling prop shops is Brian Dubé in New York. I need to get some new clubs, though. Wendy's staying with the dogs. Mary B's staying with the cats. Anybody out there staying with the lizards? I think my daughter has a dragon or a lizard or something. The dragon. Sharon's going to be able to watch the fireworks out the side window. I think Alana is already in Alaska, and they're on a different one. I saw her post the other day, and it looked like they were already doing something. I hope that you and Dawn take it easy on the cruise. Yeah, Annette, we're going to take it easy. Fireworks haven't started in Tampa yet. Usually sounds like a war zone. Yeah, I can't remember what it was like. I think we were in the house that we moved into this time last. Jenny B, have we lived there already? But the rental that we lived in when we first moved to Spring Hill, man, fireworks, New Year's Eve, 4th of July. It's the madhouse over there. I remember fireworks, I think, last year at our house, but it's not as crazy. Jenny B's got Brucey the dog with her, so hopefully Brucey doesn't freak out. I told this story on the live the other day, but I just want to keep talking about it. I drove by the local firework tent. We have probably 3 in our town or something like that, but one of them has a sign on it that says under new management. And I just think that's hilarious. Like, is that a selling point? I wonder if they made so many people mad at this one firework. Like, why would you know one firework tent from another unless they always get the same spot? Maybe they always get the same spot. But I just love the fact that, like, could you see, like, I don't know, Irma and her husband, Joel, like, hey, let's go get some fireworks. But they're like, yeah, don't get the one by Publix because the management there is crazy. They got no good management there at all. But it's like, hey, don't worry. I saw a sign. It's under new management. It just seems insane to me. Jackie Wyatt, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. She said, I enjoy your show. Thank you. Nick Money said dogs, dog's worst nightmare day. Yeah, dogs do freak out during the fireworks. If it was their fault but an accident, no pay, but if deliberately. I mean, the only deliberate, like, that would require a rescue, I think, if you, like, jumped over, right? So that's a great question. If you climb a rail to take a selfie, if I climb a rail and I sit down to take a selfie, I'm not deliberately going to fall off the cruise ship, but I may fall off the cruise ship. So who pays in that scenario? Beermaster, thank you so much for the super sticker. What Mexican cruises would you recommend? We live in Oregon and we want to spend less airfare by sailing somewhere close. Alan, good question. Thank you for the super chat. I like the Mexican Riviera sailings. There's going to be, so you go down to California, you go to Long Beach or San Pedro. There are some cruises from San Diego and San Francisco. I think most of those are like Holland America cruises, but a standard Mexican Riviera is going to probably include Cabo San Lucas, Puerto Vallarta, Mazatlan. Some of them include Catalina. I think any of those will get you done. It's nice, just a nice sailing. Some say that the Pacific can be a little choppy down there, but I think you could probably find a 5-day or a 7-day that includes those ports. And those are some really interesting ports. The Malecon in Puerto Vallarta, the big cathedral that they have there, fantastic. I love Cabo, the Natural Arch. They've got some interesting stuff inland, so I think you'd have a great time there. But yeah, thank you for the question. Thank you for the super chat. You don't like crowds, but you'll board a cruise ship. Yeah, absolutely. Much like everything else in life, you can make it whatever you want, and I can certainly find spots on cruise ships that aren't crowded. I don't think that I have any special talent, but cruise ships don't have to equal crowds. I guess if it does, then maybe you're not doing it right. You know, I mean, there's certainly going to be some crowds, but it's not all crowded. Let's see. Yeah, La Paz. I think I've been to La Paz. Question, is there a sign saying no climbing or sitting on the rail? I don't think there's a sign that says no climbing or sitting on the rail. I don't think I've ever seen that on a cruise. There's got to be a sign that says no climbing or sitting on the rail, but yeah, I don't know. That'd be funny if they're like, you didn't tell anybody not to climb on the rail of the moving cruise ship. Don is good. We went to Pike's, what do we call it, the public market? We went to the public market today and walked around and had some lunch and looked in shops, and he is good and ready to go on a cruise. I'm going to meet him for dinner here in an hour, I guess. I told him I would meet him at 6, so we'll do a few more minutes of this and then I'll go to dinner. Come sail away with me. I don't think the process is any different for Carnival or anywhere else. And I've seen, I don't know, I've seen people that you wouldn't want to be hanging out with on every cruise line I've been on. So I know it's easy and fun to hate on, it's actually lazy just to hate on Carnival, but there's jerky people all over the place. So, but yeah, maybe, I don't know. I guess it makes people feel better to hate on something. So I don't know. For people who hate on Carnival, if that makes you feel better as a person, I guess have at it. But just know you're not correct. You know, like there's just jerky people everywhere. Even in chat sometimes. Let's see. Hey, Tony, ever taken the drive to Venice, Florida and visit the Ringling House and the museum? So Captain's Table MDR, yes and no. When we first got married, Jenny's dad invited us to Venice, and we spent a couple days in Venice at a cool little hotel on the beach, hanging out with Jenny's dad and stepmom. It was fantastic. It's one of my best memories. I miss Jenny's dad so much. I got far too little time with him before he passed away, and that Venice memory is one of the best. But I would love to go to the Ringling Museum. I've never been, and that's a trip that I need to take. But yeah, Venice is a place we think fondly of. Let's see, Lola, thank you so much for the super sticker, super chat, super chatty, yow. Let's see, do you always leave from Seattle when you're cruising to Alaska? So far, a lot of folks have said, hey, you should go to Vancouver. For some reason, I don't want to go through customs if I don't have to. And if I can fly to Seattle and go on an Alaskan itinerary that I like, then I don't see the need to go to Vancouver. But I think I probably should go to Vancouver just to go to Vancouver because I also hear that it's nice. Any future group cruises? Yes, James, we've got one in, maybe Jenny B can post the links. We've got one in October out of New York, going up the eastern coast, up into Canada and back to New York. And then we have one in April of next year, leaving Philadelphia. We're calling it the La Liga Loca Bermuda Triangle Cruise. Philly to Bermuda, Charleston, South Carolina, back up to Philly. Alan Weed, dance break. Love it. I don't have any music queued up. I don't usually do them live, so we got to wait until the next recorded show. But thank you for the super chat. Carol D with the Vancouver is fabuloso. Yes, travel with a passport. Yeah, I mean, Helga, it's just percentage-wise. There's so many people cruising, and it's just simple math, right? If you're with 1,000 people, if you're with 10 people, the odds are one of them's going to not be nice. Or I don't know what the official odds are, but then you start extrapolating that out by the thousands. There are no, like, that's an interesting thing. They don't really screen you to get on a cruise. You just have to have the proper ID. So, you know, of course, if you have warrants and stuff like that, you're most likely going to get arrested on your cruise because they take all the information that you give them and run them through a database and then come do some arrest. But as far as like background checks or anything like that, you know, I don't even know if they do that to give the passport. I don't know how you could get denied a passport, maybe with a record or something like that. But most closed loop travel, you just need your birth certificate and your driver's license. And I don't think you're going to glean too much about the personality of the person just on that stuff. So yeah, I think a lot of people have a false sense of security when it comes to cruising, when you really need to realize that, sure, cruising's great and it's safe, but there are these outlier events, like the one I always point to, you know, somebody, inevitably when you're saying, hey, somebody's mouthing off, there's a bunch of people that like to buck up and go, well, you should get in their face and tell them to shut up. And that certainly happened, and some dude busted a glass over somebody's head, and you didn't know the guy was going to bust a glass over your head and you were going to get stitches and all that kind of stuff. I mean, honestly, you should have went and said something to the staff, because you just don't know how people are going to act. And I think sometimes we get lulled into a false sense of like, okay, we're on a cruise and everybody's there to be nice to each other, and it's just not the case. I don't think it's unsafe, but I don't think you can like walk onto a cruise and think, hey, my doors are unlocked and here's all my cash, and I don't think people should be that naive about it. Pika, what's going on, Pika? I haven't seen you forever. How are you doing? Thank you so much for the super chat. Hey there, had to say hi and happy sailing. Good to talk to you. Can't wait to see you again sometime. Smoothest sailing waters, Pacific or the Atlantic? I think Pacific's generally thought of to be more rough, but I haven't had it, yeah. I think I haven't had, I've been in rough waters on both sides, but I think it's more so on the Pacific's probably known for more rough sailing. Rough sailing. What's a tip for starting a cruise YouTube channel? I don't know what the best tip is. I think the thing that you want to try to do, YouTube really comes down to two major pillars. That's what I think 8 years into it. You've got to make something that people want to see and that it's entertaining. That's important. And then you also have to figure out how to market that in a way that people will click on it. And so I guess, the challenging thing, I was thinking about this the other day, if you like go through and track the arc of me marketing stuff, there was a time that it was pretty clicky, right? Like I always prided myself on whatever the title and the thumbnail said, it was true, but I would try to get, I would try to get wise about it and, and make you not know what I was talking about. And sometimes that would really make people mad. Like in my mind, people got mad because they guessed wrong. So like the joke clickbait I made the other day, I said, brand loyalists win, Carnival is going to change. That's all very true. People that love Coke won that day and Carnival made a change. Now, it's very clicky because we spent the whole week talking about the Carnival loyalty program. So I purposefully let everybody guess wrong thinking that they would click into the video. And so I guess the debate is whether, clickbait is, if it's true and positive, is it positive? Or if it, if you're making people guess wrong on purpose, it's negative. I don't know, but I think that's the hardest part about YouTube is making something that somebody will click that doesn't make them mad in the process, but gives them something that's entertaining. I think my biggest tip though is start with the content and make stuff that you think other people will be interested in. A simple way to figure out what other people will be interested in, just go look at some of the biggest cruising content creators, sort their videos by most popular, and then just write down a list of those topics and titles. And that's going to give you a nice roadmap of what people are interested in. And then certainly don't copy, what they're doing word for word. Find your own way to make a spin on those popular, but like popular topics, are the purvey of the universe. Like you can take any popular topic and make content on it. But I think when it gets really sketchy is when you straight up copy. The other thing that I had to learn recently is not to get bullied out of what's working well for me. I've changed my thumbnail style that was very popular because somebody started copying it. I've changed the format of my show because somebody started copying it. And I finally just gave myself the liberty. I heard somebody say it, don't let yourself be bullied out of what is successful because other people copy it. And I guess I've come to a place now where if people copy my stuff and it helps them put food on their table, then I feel okay with that. But it used to be frustrating to me. I don't know. I've said a lot. I don't know if any of that's helpful, but there you go. Manny Blanco, thank you so much for the super chat. Carnival loyalty or Coke loyalty, hard decision. Yeah, that was the joke I was making. Like, look, man, I'm excited Coke is back, and if you just give it to me in a can, I'll forget about all this. I think the loyalty thing's just smoke and mirrors anyways. There's certainly some loyalty perks on Carnival that I like. I like priority embarkation and disembarkation. I don't like waiting in line, and so the fact that I can get on quicker, get off quicker, that's the best. But, you're not really making me care either way with a $13 bag of laundry or a $4 bottle of water or trinkets. So I think loyalty is a bit of a scam anyways, not in a scummy scam way, but just loyalty across everything. A lot of times the juice isn't worth the squeeze. I can only think of a few perks I like across some of these lines, like Royals 4 drinks a day, I think is a banger. But and I think priority embarkation and disembarkation is good for Carnival. But yeah, people are angry. My prediction, though, and I'll be glad to eat my words on this, I think we're going to get a year from now, and that will be the program. I don't think there's going to be much change to it because I think they've calculated how many people they can lose and how many people will phase out in the next 6 to 8 years. And they need to change something because the program that they have now is not workable. Anytime that they're sending out letters to people that have earned platinum and diamond and they're saying you can't have your benefits because we have too many of you on board is a broken system. And if they don't fix that system, it's just going to continue to be broken. So they're going to have to do it. Part of me thought maybe, and I talked to Jenny about this, wouldn't it be interesting if all the people that got platinum and diamond from free cruises through the casino, wouldn't it be interesting if they scaled that back, if they stripped that back, if they say, hey, look, you got the free cruises, we shouldn't have been giving you the loyalty for something you didn't pay for. That would make some people mad, and of course the casino people are the people with the money. Would it make them more mad than people that are just casual cruisers? I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, embrace today. If you make the best video in the world and your thumbnail doesn't make people click, no one will see it. It's tough, man. It's tough. Yeah, somebody, and I get into this argument a lot. Somebody's like, clickbait. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. Every day I'm trying to clickbait people. I'm trying to make something that's intriguing and teasing enough to get you to click without me being dishonest. And, that's my biggest job when it comes, like you wear a lot of hats in YouTube. You're a creator, you're creative, you're trying to make interesting stuff, but then you have to be a marketer, which is kind of crazy. And you have to be an accountant and an HR person. And apparently if I want to decorate this room, you got to be a pimp, and pimping ain't easy. But there's a lot that goes into it, but I think marketing your video is probably one of the most important parts of being a YouTuber. And again, you have to say, why am I a YouTuber? Because, I know some people that are like, somebody's asked me this before in the community, what do you have to do to get more eyes on your videos? And I say, well, you got to make titles and thumbnails that are clicky, that are, intriguing, and people will click on them and they'll be like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And it's like, okay, well, what is your goal? Because anybody can make a video and throw it up. And if nobody watches it and your goal is just to throw up a video, then you should be happy. But most of the people that I meet aren't happy with that. Most of the people that say that are not actually happy with that. They're like, how do I get the views? How do I get the monetization? How do I get the brand deals? And you tell them, these are the things you have to do. I don't want to do that. It's like, well, then you don't actually want those things. So when it comes to YouTube, you have to decide what your end goal is. Do you want to try to make it something viable? Do you want to if it's something that you just want to be creative, then it shouldn't matter who watches it, right? I don't know. I'm very passionate about the YouTube. Party of One, thank you so much for the super chat. Pamela Crow, thank you so much for the super chat. Thanks for keeping us up to date. That's right. Everything going on in cruising. Why are you not a travel agent? That's a tough business. I mean, that's a tough business. Making all these videos is a tough business too, but I can completely depend on myself. Travel agent, you're constantly having to deal with people that have all these demands and expectations, and they want to call you 24 hours a day. I never was a travel agent. Like when Jenny wanted to be a travel agent, I said, look, you can be a travel agent. I don't want nothing to do with it because I like just depending on myself. I like just depending on Jenny. And it's insane. And Jenny finally got out of it. I think the travel business is great. And like Walter is somebody who loves it and he loves all that interaction and he manages it well. And there's other people, our friend Sharon from Sharon at Sea, Dawn, they do all that well. But my personality, Jenny B's personality, Jenny was great at it, but she had to work all the time. And it's not really what she wanted to do, to not have the flexibility. And yeah, I say bless the people that do it, but that sure ain't my bag. That ain't my bag. My daughter says, can you say hi, Taylor? Sure, hi, Taylor. I'm a travel agent, just 1 year now, very hard, yes. Yeah, Tracy, I think that's the point. Some people are triggered either way, right? The other day on the Goofy one I made, I did make a little graphic that I put on my shirt that said Tony's Bait Shop. I think I'm going to make a t-shirt that says that. Yeah, thumbs up. How are we doing? Wow, a lot of people here tonight. Good to see everybody. Looks like we got the thumbs up going on. Cruising 101 said, my channel's going nowhere. I stopped posting for 2 years, but started posting it. I'm in addition to the working hard, I also feel like I got lucky. Right place, right time. When we went to the shutdown, not a lot of people. We used to do, so like if you think about it pre-pandemic, when we first started making vlogs, there were a lot of vlogs, but there weren't a lot of single day vlogs. Like, okay, we wake up and we go to sleep and then this is the end of the day. So we started doing that. And now there's a lot of that. And then when we rolled into the pandemic, there were a lot of single topic cruising things, but there wasn't necessarily a like, let's lay out 5 or 6 stories and encapsulate that into a show. And I started doing that during the pandemic, and that really, people started responding to that. Now, a lot of people weren't making content at the time, but I was pretty committed that if I was going to be stuck at home, I was going to make a show on a daily basis. And as much as people enjoyed getting content on a daily basis, I was also excited to get all that interaction in the comments because I was just stuck at home. Yeah, Jenny B and I were just stuck at home looking at each other like, oh, here's another day at the house, which is wonderful because we enjoy being with each other. But, it felt isolating. I mean, a lot of people felt isolated. So, I think I got lucky. Oddly enough, like you wouldn't think that the pandemic would be helpful, but it turned out to be helpful, at least for us in YouTube. I don't know if I started now, if I would have the same success that I did. Sometimes timing is everything. Daniel, thank you so much for the super chat. Hey, Tony, watch you all the time. Thank you so much. D-May Binkley, thank you for the super chat. Bonnie Bergs, what's up? Thank you so much for the super chat. How you doing? I hope you're feeling well. I got to make my way back to West Palm. Dennis, thank you for the super sticker. Super sticker, yow. Question, what is the origin of the phrase shout out Ludacris? One day, I miscredited a DMX song with Ludacris. And in the comments, somebody's like, that's not a Ludacris song, that's a DMX song. That was the first shout out Ludacris. And then I thought to myself, well, wouldn't it be fun that if every time I mentioned a song, especially well-known songs, that I would shout out Ludacris and see who would correctly identify the song in the comments. And so that was the beginning of Shout Out Ludacris, and it still works to this day. I'll shout out Ludacris and they'll be like, don't you mean shout out the Beach Boys? And then I get to comment back, who? It's obviously like it's a Beatles or Dylan song that everybody knows, and they'll be like, don't you mean Bob Dylan? And I'll be like, who? That's the beginning of it, and then it became an inside joke, and a lot of people wear it as a in the know thing, which I kind of like that. So it's kind of a Loco Fam inside joke. Some people have suggested that that's mean for new viewers, but I never not tell anybody what it is when they ask. So yeah, that's the shot. Now you're in the know, and no one's half the battle. G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe. Shout out Ludacris. Best cruise for young adults. Sarah H. I didn't start cruising till I was in my 40s. It depends what they like. Man, if you like the party, you go Carnival. If you like it a little chill with maybe more family vibe, you go Royal. I think Norwegian has a really nice spot for if I was like 30 years old and if I drank a little bit and if I really liked loud music and some, maybe Norwegian I think I would go to. But I don't know. I think Norwegian's probably a good choice. Did you get your passport replaced? I sure did. It came in, I think, on the 1st of July. But I did find out that I could use my passport card to do this cruise if I wanted. But I have my book. I hope I packed it. No, I do have it. Don is in Seattle. We're going to have dinner in, how many minutes? 42 minutes. At 6 o'clock. I'll probably go here till 5:30, and then I'll throw my shoes on and walk around the block. Let's see. Do you know I have joined your October? What? Bonnie, we're going to cruise together? Jenny B, Bonnie's going to cruise. I can't wait to meet you, Bonnie. It's going to be so great. Bonnie's old school Loca fam, probably since the very beginning. So, yeah, that's exciting. All right, I can solve the Rubik's Cube, but I don't know that I can talk during it. Will somebody run a timer? Somebody run a timer? All right, I'm going to start. Is this good content? That's so funny. So first, you got to make the daisy. I'll show you the daisy once we get it made, if I can do it. First, you got to make the daisy. Of course, now I'm not going to be able to work this cube. All right, so we got the daisy, right? All right. So, and then the daisy means that the centerpiece is, so see how the two oranges, the two reds, the two greens, and the two blues. Okay, so then we move all of the daisy over to the white. So now we have a white cross on the bottom. Now we're going to solve the bottom level. And it would go quicker if I stopped talking, but you know, hey, what are you going to do? All right, here we go. We're using a righty algorithm, left algorithm. I don't know all the terms. I don't know all the terms, y'all. Let's see. That doesn't seem to make sense. Here we go. It's not very fast. It's not like watching that kid solve it in 3 seconds. That kid's amazing. Whoever kid that is, I'd be proud of him. Oh, I messed up. Where does that go? All right, we're slowly getting there. I still think I can do this in under 5 minutes. So hanging tough here. All right, we have now solved the bottom and the bottom. Now we have to solve this this middle ring here. Do 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 do. All right, we're making progress. Boom, 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 boom. All right, so we got yellow, yellow, yellow. That's not what we need, so we got to do this. This is the tricky part, kids. This is the one they don't talk about at home. It's kind of harder to do this in front of an audience. We're getting close. Probably hit 5 minutes by now. That's my problem. I was going the wrong way. Okay. We've now solved the bottom two layers. Now we have to do this. So much easier when nobody's watching. Right. Something's going on outside. All right, we got the yellow cross on the top. Now we have to do this thing called the soon. I have to do another soon. Oh, we're making progress. So now we have the top where all of the colors are the same. Now we just have to solve the corners. That's we're getting close. We're getting close, everybody. So exciting. All right, we just have to get these corners in the right place. So we will start here. Almost. Almost. All right, we only have 2 pieces that are out of whack. So now we just do righty algorithms till they come into place. Ooh, there's one. Now we move to the other piece that's out of whack. Somebody got the time on it? Wow, that's crazy. Okay, that's the first time I ever did that live. How about that? All right. Yeah, I do. So this helped me through the plane ride yesterday. Spin it, tap it, bop it. Yeah, that was a great bop it. Beer Master, thank you for the super chat. And Databetic, thank you for the super chat. All right, we got 4 more minutes. It's a great time to hit the like button if you have not hit the like button, and get your last questions in. What happened to the woman lost in Alaska? Unfortunately, they found her. So she went missing on Tuesday. They sent a search party out. It kind of got hindered, but then they found her deceased yesterday, sadly, with a helicopter. How long did it take me to learn to juggle? About a week to do 3 balls to where I could juggle 3 balls. But then juggling's like a lifetime thing. There's so many different patterns and props, and but just being able to do the 3-ball cascade, that's where the balls make like a sideways figure 8, an infinity pattern. Just that took about a week. Have I ever wanted to do an Alaska land sea trip? I kind of did, but then I saw somebody make a video of it and it looked a little boring to me, so I don't know. I don't know. Jay Johnson, thank you so much for the super chat. Of course, I've seen the fireworks at Sydney Harbor, but the 4th of July fireworks doesn't mean anything to Gay because she's in Australia. Man, I don't know what's for dinner, though. I'm ready. I'm ready for it. All right. I think we've done it all. So it's kind of cool to chop up the news live. I know it didn't take very long, but I don't know, might do some more of these shows. The final takeaway on the poll, with almost 1,000 votes, should the family person pay for the rescue if it is their fault? 70% said yes. 30% says no. Yeah, El Rondo, I've seen somebody solve Rubik's Cubes while juggling. I don't know that I'm up for that, so thank God. Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it, man. All right. I guess I'm going to call it. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. My name is Tony. For the lovely Jenny B that's there in Florida, I guess tomorrow I'll be on a cruise ship. Tomorrow's cruise day, so be on the lookout for some Alaskan content. And yeah, until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. I forgot I wasn't using the preview mode and that the video was going to play immediately. So until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.